Sachidanand Paramanand Meher Baba Vidyanand. And that's what he gives him. That's all. Like, whatever, 4 words, is it? Sachidanand Paramanand Meher Baba Vidyanand. Oh, God, that was like no help at all. And so he, the day comes and he starts heading up on the on the train, and he gets part way up, and there's a place, a stop called Jhansi, Jansi, and there are a whole lot of. He has to make a stop there, and all these Baba lovers are there, and they're dying to know what the message. What does Baba say? What does Baba have to tell us and everything? What have you heard and everything? And so Bao says, Sachidanand Paramanand Meher Baba Vidyanand. He gives that to him. And he's still got a heavy train ride going further north up to Hamirpur. So he gives that to him, and he's like very uncomfortable. When he gets to Hamirpur, what happened is the people in Jhansi, wired or telephoned the Baba's words, those 4 words, to the people in Hamirpur, and they created a chant, right on the spot, so that when Baukal Churi got off the train up there, everybody was singing this powerful chant, and it was just going on and on. And I mean, it simplified everything, because they were already so alive with these 4 words of Baba. And so that kind of took away all of his anxiety, and so he was able to speak about Baba. So, so that's where that comes from. That I don't think that's the same melody that the Hamirpur people came up with. Maybe Jasima might know. Was that the original melody, or do you know?
Yeah, it's similar. Yeah.
Uh-huh, or similar somehow. Anyway, that was a great relief. A great relief. Hey, we don't have this very often, Rainy. Do you have a guitar handy? Are you up for playing?
I don't know how it'll sound, but I'll give it a go.
Oh, it'd be great.
One sec.
Yeah. While we're waiting, I'll read a few quotes, and then I know Jake has to get to bed on the earlier side, so we'll we'll inquire with you because you have to teach tomorrow.
So Jake will go to bed early and Elowen gets to stay up late.
Yeah.
Isn't there some weird flip around here?
Yeah, yeah. The adult world and the children world is all.
It's a holiday tomorrow.
Okay. Hey, Rainy is here
That's
already.
right. That's why they can stay up late.
Yeah.
It's only 7 o'clock. Sausage.
Oh, you're funny. No, it's actually
Yeah.
10:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Actually, what is it? It's 8:30 a.m. in India, of course.
Yeah.
It's 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1 p.m. in Australia tomorrow, Monday.
I think most of you know Rainey, but she was originally from Australia and spent a lot of time with Francis Brabazon. So, yeah.
Well, what would you like, a Francis or a Sam or a Rainy or a rainy day? We're actually having rain. We never have rain in
Oh.
Berkeley, California, like ever, and it's raining, so it's very auspicious.
Yeah, we've had nothing but rain and rain and rain.
Oh, really?
How about doing, you did, the one way you did that song, I Dwell in Dust and Sing.
Oh, yeah.
That you did beautifully. This is a different version of Francis's ghazal. I dwell in dust and sing.
Oh, Guzzle 83 or 85, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know them that well, but
Oh, 85. Okay.
Just spin the Rolodex.
yeah.
What key is it in, Jeff?
Yeah, well,
Key of J.
it's your singing. I don't know.
TJ.
Oh,
Key of
oh,
J.
How does it sound without my little
Do you have the original
Well,
sound on?
understand,
You're fine.
Should I
Sounds
get
good.
my little snowball?
No,
Mike?
no, you're fine, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I dwell in dust and sea, and my song is most sweet. For although I lie prostrate, I do not entreat. I dwell in dust and sea, and my song is most sweet. For although I lie prostrate, I do not entreat. I would not wish to be less than the seasons which wait their turn, nor than fire hidden in wood to burst into life and burn. Well in dust and sea, and my song is most sweet. For although I lie prostrate, I do not entreat. Love, it spins the earth on the tip of one finger. Why should I cry for gifts? He will not forget his singer. They who ask God to fulfill their desires have no faith in Him. For the essence of faith is to abide the beloved's voice. They who ask God to fulfill their desires have no faith in Him. For the essence of faith is to abide the beloved's voice. Hold out my cup for him to fill at his pleasure. Now or at world's end, it will be the same full measure. Waiting is easy for me. I spent 1,000,000 years a stone, then millions more shaping my ears to receive song's golden tone. Now my waiting is praising, my praising is sweet. For although I lie prostrate, I do not entreat. Yes, my waiting is praising, my praising is sweet. Although I lie prostrate, I do not entreat.
Oh, beautiful. Baba, Baba Mara used to say that there's one type of singing that Baba especially liked. It had a certain quality in it. You probably know Dard, D-A-R-D. Oh,
That pain.
yeah, longing anguish is the way Adi translated it. Your voice has that Dard in it. Hey, well, what if you're still there? We're going to get you to play another one, but I wanted to find out anything from Jake. Jake he has to teach tomorrow.
Uh, Today's my lucky day.
Oh, that's right. Tomorrow's President's Day, right? So,
Yes. But it's wonderful to be here. And I do have something actually.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
So this is, I just have a little reading that I found that really, that touched me it's not a Baba writing per se, but I think it's very much inspired by Baba. It's by a Christian monk who is kind of a Christian mystic named Thomas Merton, pretty famous.
Sure.
And in reading this the other day, it gave me this vision of what politics in the new humanity would look like. And this is not to dive into or stir up a topic of politics in any way, but just
Yeah.
the imagery I found to be absolutely beautiful. And I really wanted to share this.
You know, just before you begin, Thomas Merton always reminded me of Francis Brabazon.
Oh, so
They had a very rugged sort of a strong, powerful kind of what can I say, seeking, and yeah. Anyway,
yeah, I really enjoy reading his works. This is from a
Yeah.
book called New Seeds of Contemplation.
yeah, I got it. Yeah,
It would be a sentimental folly to expect men to trust one another when they obviously cannot be trusted. But at least they can learn to trust God. They can bring themselves to see that the mysterious power of God can, quite independently of human malice and error, protect men unaccountably against themselves, and that he can always turn evil into good, though perhaps not always in a sense that would be understood by the preachers of sunshine and upliftment. If they can trust and love God, who is infinitely wise and who rules the lives of men, permitting them to use their freedom even to the point of almost incredible abuse, they can love men who are evil. They can learn to love men even in their sin, as God has loved them. If we love the men we cannot trust without trusting them foolishly, and if we can, to some extent, share the burden of their sin by identifying ourselves with them, then perhaps there is some hope of a kind of peace on earth, based not on the wisdom and the manipulations of men, but on the inscrutable mercy of God. And what I really like about this is the call to find a reliance on God in our relationships with each other.
beautiful. Yeah,
I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And then also even the one line in there is also kind of made me think of then when working with someone you feel is committing horrible things, to also find them within yourself. I think that's such a beautiful thing to do. Hard, no question about it, but it's such a beautiful thing to try to do.
yeah, lovely. No, I like that because I don't think at least in this day and age, it's going to be hard for people to resolve their differences without appealing to a higher a higher power. Really, the ideologies are incompatible. There's not even room for compromise. They're just too different, I would say.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think that's true. I think
mean,
that's true.
it's very polarized. Yeah,
I can feel that in this day and age. I mean, I think many of us can here, and it makes sense to then that the only option really is for all to turn to God.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then try to work out things between ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good.
Hey, here's something that I liked. Rustam Falahati. He was one of the Western residents in India, and he would he would kind of approach Erich with certain of his questions and everything, and maybe a little bit forceful and everything like that. But thank God he did go after go after Erich with certain questions. the same way that if it hadn't been for the Luck brothers and Wendell Brustman kind of coming in with their cameras, we wouldn't have had all of these films. It took, certain crazy people that could, just even disturb people for posterity, as it turned out. Anyway, so Rustam Falahati, he was going through some personal problems and everything, and he decided he would approach Erich to see what Erich might say. And so he kind of brought it up with the thing with him, and then Erich said, remember Baba more and more. Try and do it whenever the problem bothers you. Do it patiently, and it will get resolved. But Rustam was not happy with that. There was, and he said, I need something more specific. I mean, that's ambiguous. I mean, I have been remembering Baba, and nothing has helped. It's nothing working. He kind of laid into to Erich, and Erich said very softly, I have given you the correct solution to your problem, but you don't want to follow it. And Rustam said, I am remembering him. And Erich said, no, you are not remembering Baba. and so Rustam says, well, what makes you think I'm not remembering Baba? So Erich said very slowly, these are great lines here. There's a nuance here. One who is remembering Baba does not assert themselves as you did just now. He is always conscious of those moments during the day when he was unable to remember Baba. He makes a conscious effort to fill up even the moments when these moments with his beloved's remembrance. The more he does that, this is the line. The more he does that, the more he begins to feel that he is not doing enough. And when that feeling is constant, then it can be said that such a one is remembering him. When you remember him in this manner, all your so-called illusory problems will disappear. Try to work towards that. Now I'll go back and read that again because it's a nuance there. He makes a conscious effort to fill up even those moments with his beloved's remembrance. The more he does that, the more he begins to feel that he is not doing enough. And when the feeling is when that feeling is constant, that he's not doing enough, then it can be said that such a one is remembering him. I don't know if that makes sense. And then later on, so he heard Erich. Just a second. He heard Erich say one day, kind of under his breath, Erich said, "Oh, Baba, when will this all end?" And so Rustam says, he said, when you remember, and then Rustam says, when you remember him in the manner that real lovers of God remember him. He just threw his words back on Erich. And Erich said, you are right. I am not doing enough through the day. He then folded his hands and bowed his head in all humility. Thank you for reminding me, Baba. Thank you for sending Rustam along. Seeing Erich do this, because he was just joking, seeing Erich do this touched my heart and made me realize how great and spontaneous his remembrance of his Lord was. How great was his humility. For I know myself, I would have taken offense if somebody had suggested that I was not remembering Baba. But Erich thanked me. To him, it was his Lord who reminded him. It was his Lord who sent me along. Watching this, that day I wondered if I would ever succeed in managing to remember Baba the way he did. And if I ever did, I wondered how many lifetimes of effort I would have to put in to reach that goal. So anyway, that was, oh, Elowen. But I don't know. Was that were you able to follow that?
Yeah,
I mean, it's yeah.
yeah. That's as you were reading, I could feel my fear in that state of constantly worrying if I'm doing enough, because then, well, then there'd be nothing left of me. That sense of fear is very palpable. It's kind of funny.
You know, here's another thing, and then we'll get Rainey to sing another song, hopefully, or a poem. Here's another thing. You know, people ask about Baba's silence. You know, that they come to the center. You know, new people. Well, you know, why did Baba observe silence? And there were two explanations that stand out to me. One of them, most of you've heard, where that Erich would relate, where Baba said, "Why do two people?" He was, I think, among the Mandali there. Why do two people, in spite of being at a short distance from each other, shout at each other? Why do they? Why are they shouting in spite of being right next to each other when they're angry? And they all kind of gave various answers. And Baba's answer was, because their hearts are far away, and they have to shout across that distance, in spite of being close. And then Baba said, when you when you love somebody, you know, you talk more quietly. And when you're even closer, just even you whisper. And when that you're even more intimate, you just your eyes can convey everything. And then Baba said, and then eventually you're silent. And Baba said, I'm nearer to you than your own heart. And silence can be the means of communication. That was one explanation. But here's another one that I don't know if a lot of people have heard it, but Erich, I mean, Baba asked Mandali one time, you know, his companions, people talk all day. You know, whole cities talk. I'm paraphrasing. Whole cities talk. Where do all the words go? Where does all the talk go? You know, and you know, oh, it just goes into thin air and whatever. They came up with all sorts of. No one satisfied Baba's thing. Baba says that collects in clouds. It hangs over whole cities. I mean, all the you just imagine New York City. You know, I mean, all that talk going on. It's just it says it hangs almost like pollution. It hangs over whole cities, whole countries. And Baba said, my silence is to absorb that noise, so that you can hear the voice of your own soul. So, in other words, it wasn't he's absorbing all the noise so that we can hear our own soul. So that to me seems like the best explanation for the work that Baba was, how difficult it was. Because when Baba saw Upasni Maharaj for the last time, Upasni begged Baba to break his silence, to end his silence, even with tears in his eyes. But Baba continued his silence. So I always thought that was so when people ask me, I give, those are two of the explanations I give.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Uh, let's just see. Did I see? Prasad, had you heard that?
No, not the second part. I never heard of the
Yeah.
collecting in the clouds.
Yeah. I mean, you just imagine, like, we know what pollution is like. just think, just think of all the talk and the thinking and everything. Hey, so Rainey, you got another song for us? Far Behind Is Yesterday.
So that was so intense. I thought I'd do something funny.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
One of the things about all the noise is that the joyful noise that's in the Bible, of course, and gospel, of course, loves to make a joyful noise because of this passage. Um, Baba himself loves to be entertained. He's just so busy and everything. He loves to be entertained. And so our focus over, my 14 years around Francis was to entertain the beloved, because when Baba came to Avatar's abode in 1958, he didn't want prayers. He didn't want to give talks, although all those talks are in Practical Spirituality, John's book. And they're intense because
Yeah.
he really didn't want to talk, but they didn't know anything to entertain him. They actually didn't even know the prayers. And we actually didn't used to do the prayers except at birthday and Amratithi. And so we focused on entertaining the beloved essentially in all those years around our poet Mandali, Francis Brabazon. Anyway, this is kind of funny and deadly. Francis's humor was funny and deadly. If you read any of his guzzles, as fast as he's being funny, he's giving you a clip in the ear, as was done to him by Baba every day, several times. It's called, well, every great blues musician, there was not any genre of music Francis did not know, except he didn't get too much into music of other languages because he was not good with languages. But he had a huge collection of the blues. So this is called a 4-day week. And what is a 4-day week? Every blues musician has a 4-day week song. Nobody wanted the 40-hour week. Thank you. And they certainly didn't want the 7 days a week. They wanted the 4-day week.
Yeah.
On a Monday, I went out walking. And on a Tuesday, yeah, I stayed home feeling sad. And on a Wednesday, I was with my friends talking. And on a Thursday, I gave away all I had. Yeah, I gave away all I had. And I started hoofing, crawling, and rolling to the feet of God. On a Monday, I was bright as a sparrow. And on a Tuesday, I was feeling like a louse. On a Wednesday, I sped just like an arrow. And on a Thursday, I arrived at God's house. Oh, I arrived at God's house. And I started sweeping with my eyelashes steps up to his door. On a Monday, the Lord was very kind. On a Tuesday, though, he turned his back on me. And on a Wednesday, he took away my mind. On a Thursday, his truth he made me see. Oh, his truth he made me see. His form, his beauty, his loneliness.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's interesting that that Francis, the whole idea, more so there than here in the States, of entertaining Baba. I mean, he really emphasized that more than what we gathered over here. You know, of with poetry and dance and artwork and everything. And I know, like Baba's house over there has all, paintings all over the place, and you won't find that, unfortunately, at the Mayor Center. It's a little more like just Baba's photographs, pretty much, and only a few of them.
Because we never had a talk, we never did the prayers.
Can you turn yourself up a little bit?
We never had a talk, we never had the prayers. We just, is that better? We
Yeah.
just had plays, music. We formed a choir, and he'd come out with his words and songs. And then, of course, he told us about 2 years later, oh, I wrote a whole book of songs. He was so
Yeah.
humble. I mean, you had to squeeze everything out of him, you know. And that was
You,
all.
your voice is very quiet, Rainy.
Oh, how is that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Oh, this little thing, this little Sputnik. Yeah, so it was, we had to squeeze everything out of him, you know. Then we found out he'd written the East-West Gathering, and that had 29 songs. Then we found out, you know, even later still, actually, about Let Us the People Sing. We'd sort of, but he'd bring new things out. He was very progressive and modern in actual fact, and he'd bring new things out rather than rehash these old things. And he would hand songs individually to people, like for their birthdays. I was given House in the Rain for a birthday, or a song to sing to Mara, as if I was Mara and could imagine her suffering, as a footnote on the bottom, which took me years to sing. But he would just bring these things out, and then, of course, then out came In Dust I Sing, and that changed a lot because everybody wanted to put melodies to them because he thought they should be sung. But we were constantly going and doing courses through the week in theatre, trying to be actors and singers, and eventually people like me and Sam got degrees in music, but we were sort of running along behind trying to keep up with this man, wrecked from living 11 years with Baba, 6 hours sleep or less a night, having to write a poem a night, essays, books, but us trying to keep up with it, us hippies.
Yeah. Beautiful.
you-
Yeah.
Do you know how to sing Because of Love, Rainy?
Ghazals?
No,
Oh, you mean Urdu ghazals?
No, the one Because of Love.
Oh, of course, Ghazal 35, yeah.
You've got a request there from Mayor Prasad.
Oh my goodness, that makes me nervous. Well, the thing with Ghazal 35 is that it became the Mandali's favorite because so Francis had this thing where he had to write a ghazal every night. After Alaba read a ghazal, Francis would say, write an English ghazal based on this. And when he came up with, it wasn't Ghazal 35 then, it was just somewhere along the line of 10 years, 3 years of night, 62, 63, 64. And he came up with Because of Love, and Baba said, you've got it. By that we gather he means the form, the idea, the heart. You've got it, the crux of the matter. This is what I'm trying to invent through you, is the English language ghazal, and this one, you've got it. And he went on with a lot more confidence after Because of Love. How does it go now, Meha? Oh, I know. Okay, 1 minute while I put this Sputnik down. Won't stand on its own feet. Even when you memorize them, you can make the mistake of reversing a couplet. And even though, like Hafez, can you hear me?
A little louder if it's possible.
Yeah, I don't know how to turn this thing up, so I'll just put it here.
Early here.
How's about that? Is that better?
Probably, yeah.
Is that better? Is
I
that
think
better?
it is. I
Yeah,
can hear
okay.
you, yeah.
Okay. I know when I project and sing, it's louder. So even if you've memorized these things, there's 7 couplets. It's not an even number, so they can get out of order. And then you lose sleep for days with guilt that they got out of order, you know. The
We wouldn't
evening
know.
pianos, the evening pianos have faltered into silence because of love, because of love. The night trumpets have wailed their last notes of violence because of love, because of love. How earnestly we pursue our roles in God's great game because of love, because of love. The freshening dream, the kiss, ever new and the same because of love, because of love. Who, if he could hear his own voice, would go on singing because of love, because of love. The end remains covered, else few would make a beginning because of love, because of love. The difference between being pelted with eggs and showered with roses because of love, because of love is less one of talent than one's fate share, which time discloses because of love, because of love. We sleep, sometimes we dream and awaken to a new day because of love. A billion years of wayfaring, yet still we don't know the way because of love. We would not yet even have broken out of the beast cage because of love, because of love. If it were not for God-man's compassion and holy rage, because of love. Tomorrow is another day for the battle's violence, because of love, because of love. The few remaining hours of the night are for wine and silence, because of love, because of love.
Beautiful. That imagery is
Such a favorite. I mean, Rano named her book because of love. It became such a favorite. And Merwan, of course, Jesawala would always ask for it. He too loved this ghazal.
yeah, that's pretty intense. The imagery is very intense.
I like, Jeff, the difference between being pelted with eggs and showered with roses
Yeah,
is less one of talent than one's fate share, which
Yeah.
time discloses
yeah,
because of love.
yeah. That's one of my favorite in there.
Mm.
I mean, people become great singers not necessarily because of talent. It's just that it was their destiny to be a famous singer in this particular life. And some of the really fine singers are never hardly get to be known, you know. But some of these people, they make it big, but it's just they need that experience, and it's not necessarily based on talent or merit or anything like that. It's just they need that experience. And let's see. I'm going to ask Jake. Jake, any things you've been working on that are that are would be interesting to share?
Oh, yes. I mean, same old, you know. Unfortunately, you know, parenting with love is hard. How,
Yeah,
you know, to catch my reactions as a parent and to know what to say and how to say, so you know my children feel loved, but at the same time they know and understand boundaries. You know, it's not a skill set that I really have well developed, I have to say. So and then to have compassion for myself. You know, it's like how to try to be loving and have compassion for yourself at the same time.
yeah.
It's quite the task.
Well,
Oh, you got muted there, Jeff.
oh, am I muted?
Now
No.
you're good.
Oh, the fact that you're not absolutely, can I say, convinced of knowing the way, like some fathers can be rigid, like militaristic. The fact that you have to kind of question means that the whole apparatus is much softer.
Yeah,
I
that's
would
good.
say, I mean, there are a lot of people that grew up with fathers who were just rigid and and immovable, and that's a rough regime to grow up under.
Yeah. Yeah, I can feel that. I mean, I have that in me for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, that's good. No, no, thank you for that reflection.
Hey, I wanted to ask you folks. I could get there. There are probably no more than 30 people who met Bob.
Yeah, you're muted again, Jeff. Now you're
Oh,
good.
okay. Who have met Baba and actually talk about, are willing to share their experiences. So some evening, like at the session like this, I know I can get Tom Riley for maybe a half hour or 45 minutes to share his experience. And also, I could ask Erwin Luck, who's got some great. I mean, these are two people who met Baba and are great about sharing it. So I don't know how you folks would be up for something like that. Raise your hands if you're up for it. Just good. I'll try because I talked with Kathy Riley this evening, and she said she could get Tom. He goes to bed a little earlier, but for whatever length of time we can get Tom Riley, I'll see if I can get him and get him to share. And I've talked to Erwin also, so it would be nice because these are a dying breed, so to speak.
Oh, absolutely. And you
Yeah.
have to drag things out of him, I find.
Who's that? Tom?
Irwin sometimes, like he was doing a talk and I asked him to sing the journey and he said, "Oh, well, you sing it if you want it." So
Yeah.
I thought, "Oh, what do I do?" And then went, "Okay." But that's what he really wanted was me me to sing it.
Yeah.
So he can be reluctant. You've got to kind of know the
But
script
but
and pull things
but
out of him.
but when he talks about his times with Baba, you get a real
Oh,
flavor
oh yes,
of,
he's
and
spectacular.
that the very human side of Baba that he found Baba just really great friend, a great wanted loved being with him,
Great.
rather than some of the other ways that people relate to him. He was just a young kid, and so yeah, so I'll see. Let me ask some of the people from India, like Dinku. What about you, or Priya, or Sham? Huh.
Uh, it's a lovely idea, but I never met Baba, though I did meet some of the Mandali a couple of times.
Yeah.
But that was early 2000.
Yeah. But I'm thinking, would you like to hear uh, a couple of people who of their experiences of being with Baba?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Yeah, I
I
can get
love
them.
hearing all these stories.
I can get them to come on. I'll pressure them. No, they'll be happy to.
Great.
Yeah, good. So maybe not this Tuesday. I'll see this Tuesday, but maybe next Sunday. I'll try to get one of them to share. What about you, Priya? You up for it? Oh, she already said yes. That would be amazing. That came out on the chat. Yeah. Yeah. So Jake, so you're and but how does Katie do with it?
Oh, she's I think she's a little more flexible than I'm willing to be. sometimes.
Yeah.
She does. She's better at that, I think, than I am.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I want a roadmap so I don't cause irreparable damage to my children's psyche.
Yeah.
Growing up, I want my kids to avoid childhood hurts.
Yeah.
But it's impossible. Even if I do everything perfectly, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So it's just
No.
that longing to love. I feel like it's rooted in my longing to love, but then measuring my capacity to love, and then recognizing that I fall short
Yeah.
of that, and then that's, I think, where really my agita really comes from,
Yeah.
is measuring myself harshly, I guess. So and I think
found a really, I know this sounds really corny. Can people hear me now that I've actually turned on this snowball mic? Can you hear me?
Yeah. You're a little quiet, but still,
Yeah.
we can. Yeah. Better.
Well, I was watching, of all things, Oprah. And Oprah, of course, suffered terribly as a child. But she said this thing and it stuck in my mind. I think my daughter's a Down syndrome woman of 40, so I have an infant for life, or a little girl. I still call her a woman now. She said that all a child really wants is that the minute that they walk into the room or you walk into the room and see them, is that your eyes light up. And it
that's
sounds,
beautiful.
yeah, it's a
Wow.
practice. And then suddenly I thought, there it is. We'd get to India and Mani would be hugging someone, then she'd spot you and her eyes would light up in a different way, with the Rainy eye light up, or the Jeff eyes light up, or the, oh, there's my brother Jeff eyes light up, and the eyes light up. So even if I'm cross and I've lost my temper or my patience with 40 years of parenting one-to-one here, I make sure that my eyes are lit up. That's not nice, but my eyes are loving and lit up. And I
Beautiful.
found it on a program, but it really made me remember always, even if I'm being stern, to have my eyes the same as when I'm being coochie-coo and loving.
Beautiful. Really, I like that. I'm going to have to do that myself.
Yeah, no, that is a really beautiful reflection, Rainey. I'm glad
Yeah.
you shared that.
Yeah, because you did definitely get that from the mandali. I mean, I know Kitty would be like totally exhausted and everything, and I'd come into the office, and yeah, her eyes would light up, and I know that, and so you know you're welcome. Yeah, even if the rest of them is totally exhausted, their eyes say that even if I'm exhausted, you are welcome. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, let's see what we Marie, you got anything that over there in Sacramento?
Hi, everybody. I just enjoy being. I'm just here by myself, and I mean, I read and listen to music. I'm just starting to read Mani, the book of Mani's life that somebody gave me, and that is just beautiful. I loved hearing about how, what is his name, Jake, felt about his children. I was a Head Start teacher, a mentor teacher of mentor teachers. And I got the rare job of going to all the centers in Yuba and Sutter counties, of working with the most difficult children. And these were very violent, angry children that were really, I'd have to carry them out of the room trying to pull my hair and poke my eyes out. And I would just take them outside and I would just sit with them and just let them throw their tantrums and just extend love to them, and until they learn to just get softer and quiet down. And I would let them come to me when they're really upset. And it was just beautiful to see how they would start telling things that were going on in their lives, in their families, and you understood completely where they were coming from. And there's just, love is the answer to, and I don't think you always have to be saying I love you, they can feel that love that's in you. They know. They just really know. And the thing that I'm feeling now is like with my great grandchildren, this is really significant. They are coming into this world feeling more love than it's taken me a lifetime to be able to give. It is the most incredible thing to have these children that are coming in now that I am seeing. And I'm just amazed by it. And I think it is so beautiful that the world is having these advanced spiritual children that are already awake coming into this world. I didn't think I'd live long enough to see this. And so that's the most beautiful thing. Anything about love is always the best thing to offer. So,
Yeah, beautiful, Marie. Yep.
So I'm just curious. I'm going to throw this out there. Uh, I'm just curious from the from some of the guests here from India or the Eastern Hemisphere, you know, is like child neuroses such a big thing as it is here in the West? In the West, children grow up and, throw tantrums until they're late teenagers, adulthood from the experiences they had as children. In the East, is it similar? Is it the same kind of thing? Is this, universal, or is this just cultural based upon East versus West parenting styles, and or the lack of spirituality in the West raising children, and the abundance of spirituality in raising children in the East? I'm just curious if anybody can speak to that.
We've got Sham, Priya, and Dinku.
Well, going by my experience, I'd say it's pretty much the same. I don't know about the others. And 40 years later, I'm still, experiencing the same thing.
Yeah, just you mean having to kind of get an ongoing harmony or a relaxed kind of quality between you?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's. Let's see about Priya. What do you have to say, Priya? It's early there. She's takes a little longer.
I'm out, Jeff. So there's a noise here, so I was not coming. It is pretty universal. I mean, all kids throw tantrums, but I think the parenting style is changing, and people are just, at least the millennial kids, they have something special, and I believe that the parents are also raising them more consciously. But it
Yeah.
is universal, yeah. It's tricky. Kids are tricky. And I don't have kids, so no personal experience there.
How was your upbringing? How was it for you growing up?
It was a lonely journey because I'm the youngest. My parents had me when they were in their 40s, and I have three other siblings. So it was practically my sister who raised me. She did a pretty decent job of it, I think.
Yes. Somehow
But
you got over to Baba.
yes.
I can share my experience. We were four brothers growing up in India, and my dad was a very strict, disciplinarian. When I hear of Papa Jasawala, I remember my dad because he was like that. Very fierce on the outside, very strict, but inside he was like butter, extremely soft. And even though he never expressed his love or care or anything like that, almost all four of our brothers knew that he had very deep love for us. Um, Now, each one of us was very different. So I think children are basically they have their own individual nature. Some are very rebellious. Some are very kind of soft and more subservient, or they're more obedient. to their parents. So I was very kind of obedient, but one of my brothers was very rebellious. So it's, it varies. I think it's totally nature. I don't think it is really
Yeah.
based on east or west. But I do notice one thing is, my dad really wanted all four of us to be Baba lovers, and he really pushed that right from almost our very births. And each one of us really found our own way to Baba. It was not because what he was pushing. In fact, the way that he was doing probably worked the opposite for one or two of us. Not me, but Um, and I noticed the same with my kids. I have 16-year and 11-year, and my 16-year, he has his own connection. I never told him about that much about Baba, but he has his own, you know, internal connection with him. And there was one talk, one discussion we were having about Baba quotes with his uncles and stuff, and somebody was talking about rituals, and I don't know where my son got this from, but he said that it's not a ritual if you do it with love. And I don't know where he got it from. I never told him that. And they have their own connection, and
Wow.
they come into this world with their own destiny, with their own connection. So the only thing that I mean, this is my view. The only thing that I can do is just provide for whatever their path is. I don't really control their path, and I just am here to provide for until they get their own independence. That's about it. And after that, there's really nothing I have in their life. So that's my take.
How were you able to tell that your father had a great love for you, even though he was like strict, like a real strict disciplinarian? Was there certain um, slip ups where he actually let his feelings out, or did you just kind of sense it in the atmosphere?
Yeah, I think it was just the atmosphere. Sometimes it kind of he maybe he slipped. Um, like for example, if we traveled somewhere, he would, and it was morning, and he would go get some tea from the railway station, or get some breakfast for us, and so on. So, and he was very tender when he did that, like that. But I don't know, we just felt it. My mom was she's still alive, but my dad is not there anymore. But my mom was very, um, she was more, she had a lot of, what do you call, she took really good care of her. But the love, at least for me, I felt that more from my dad than from my mom, the real deep love.
Yeah,
I don't know how I felt that, but I knew that he was a very loving and deeply caring person.
beautiful. Yeah. Jasima, what about you? You got two kids?
Mhm. Yeah, I guess I'm very lenient parent. Yeah, so I don't really force. I tell, I mean, what to do, but I don't really force anything on them.
How was your upbringing?
Mine is, I can say similar like Prasad, but my father was not so strict, but we had a kind of respect for him. Uh, but it's like we communicate more with our mother. We used to be more friendly. But again, father, it is respect, but he used to love us a lot. Like any needs or anything, like he wanted us to be good in education. That he was particular. But other things he used to take care of very lovingly.
Yeah. Were your parents devoted to Baba?
Yeah, my father, like he was Baba lover since 1968.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
After marriage, my mother also started believing.
Was he um, did he kind of push Baba on you, or did he let you kind of uh, come to
Not
Baba on your own?
not really forced, but when we were younger, he used to take us to all the Baba programs, like Baba centers in Hyderabad. So every program he used to take us, and we used to have like nights together where he used to explain God speaks or discourses. He used to read books to us. So nothing like forcing, but again, he used to take all of us to people who met Baba, like in Hyderabad or in Mehrabad, used to introduce to them and ask them to give advice to us. So it was like that.
Yeah. And you kind of felt like you could develop your own way with Baba, but he was kind of exposing you to a lot of different aspects of Baba.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And here you are, many, many years later. Here we are.
Yeah, thank you all for sharing that. I appreciate hearing the different perspectives and experiences growing up. And it really, like, yeah, I could really feel, the focus on Baba is so is helpful and important, and it's not the end all be all either. Like Meher Prasad was sharing, growing up without having with having a strict focus on Baba from his parents, but then not doing the same thing for his kids still led his kids to come to Baba. There's not just one way to do it necessarily. It's kind of I don't know. I find that helpful. Like I don't have to put so much pressure on myself.
Yeah.
To do it right.
Jeff, what was your childhood like?
Well, my parents, they didn't tell us what we had to do or not do, but our hearts were but we had a lot of enthusiasm for life, and we made some mistakes and everything, but we basically pursued our enthusiasm and our passion and everything. And like I say, they never told us how we were to be. They didn't tell us we had to do well in school, but we all got straight A's. I mean, we didn't have to. I didn't come home and son, what kind of grades did you get? I wasn't getting good grades for him or for my parents. We were we were given the freedom
Allowance.
to to uh, to grow on our own, and but I think we all had pretty good hearts to start with, so that we were able to stay within the the guardrails of kindness and love and care. We did a lot of dangerous things, like kids and all that, but we didn't have, and all the kids in the neighborhood too. We didn't have the malicious streak or destructive. I think if my dad had sensed that in us, then he would have had to change his approach, and as well as my mom. But we were fun loving. I would say we were fun loving, and in some ways, if kids are if they're kind of just in a loving environment, they're not going to do anything that's too wrong. They'll make some mistakes, and sometimes we did make some mistakes, but they were not serious mistakes. In fact, sometimes I noticed that some people that grew up in very strict families, what happened is that they didn't get out some of their bad stuff when they were when they were young, and so they started acting out when they went out into the world. And we got a lot of that kind of stuff out of our system when it couldn't hurt people. You know, but so I mean, we were able to act out a lot of different things, But I saw people later on from very strict families, and they they kind of did a lot of rebellion and a lot of things that I wish they had worked out, even competitiveness. If they had worked it out in sports or something when they were young, they wouldn't be so mean on a business when they got into business, say. They would have worked out some of that because if you compete enough, eventually you get a little detached from. As kids, you get a little detached. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You don't. So some of that got softened out of it. So when I headed out from off to college, I was, I was pretty softened. I didn't have any bitterness in me. Yeah. So that's another way. That's another way of growing up. But I mean, Erich, with all the strict and upbringing he had, look at how he turned out. Magnificent. So you never know.
Hmm.
But I do think if your children are basically kind of loving and everything, they don't sometimes they don't need as much correction. They might break something, and it's good to learn. It's good to break things every once in a while to realize that hey, if you do that, you're going to break something. And we did a lot of we did a lot of crazy things, broke windows and now playing sports too close to the house and everything. But and a lot of mischief and riding our bikes after midnight all over. We didn't. There was no. We didn't have to go to bed at any particular time. So
Wow.
that's another way of working it out.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Remember something, and that is that one time I thought up we were doing a play, and I thought up a dance in the play when I was teaching jazzercise. So to make it look more like dance, I wore a cat suit and I made this applique, rather spooky cat-like mask. And the dance went over well, and it really suited the reading in the play. But there was a complaint by a mother that it was too spooky for her children who were at the, I think, anniversary or monthly meeting. We'd do theatre at the monthly meetings too. And Frances said, well, if your children can't see monsters, how are they going to sort their monsters out?
Yeah, beautiful. The real ones from the fake ones.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's yeah,
If Jake, I don't know if you heard of Erwin Luck and Ed Luck stories, but it's a fascinating story of how they came to Baba despite their father's, you know, very, extreme up.
Maurice.
So if if Baba can draw um, Luck brothers in spite of their father's so much of extreme opposition, he can draw anyone in the world. It's like
Yeah. No, that's very true. It's true. I think it's a great reminder. As I've been hearing from a lot of the stories, it's been a really good reminder how this is really in Baba's hands, and there is no number one. There is no right way necessarily where you can ascribe a right way to everybody. And here's the manual. And two,
Yeah.
That Baba is really behind it all, and I really do. I feel the call to trust him in this, for me to relax and learn to trust him. And part of that is trusting him within me as the parent,
Yeah.
and trusting him within my children. Um, it's kind of like, I guess it kind of goes back to the quote in the beginning from Thomas Merton about turning to God. It's kind of like that. Uh, in these struggles of how to parent, turn to God.
Yeah. And sometimes you can look at your child and you can see what they're emotionally capable of, how destructive they are, how angry they are, and and you can tell what the range is. I mean, and so you can see how much latitude you can give them. You know, and like I say, sometimes working some of that anger out and that, you know, meanness out when you're young.
Oh, you're muted again, Jeff.
How does he do that? Can't hear.
Jeff, you're on mute, Jeff.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm just saying that sometimes if they work that out when they're young, where it won't be as damaging later on in life, you can find out just what their range is. You know, I mean, I work with kids a lot, and you know, sometimes you can see a kid and you know, oh, wow, this kid is going to require some discipline, because I can see in him some streak that could be disruptive, not only just to themselves but to the rest of the kids. And so I have to kind of keep an eye on that kid. But sometimes you can tell they're all within a healthy range. You don't want them to be perfect, you know. But anyway, that's kind of, I worked with kids a lot before I came to work at the center.
Yeah, that's great. I do. I think that's a wonderful image of allowing your kids to work things out as kids instead of having to work out as an adult.
Yeah,
that's a really wonderful perspective, and helps me in dealing with those streaks coming out now and worrying like, oh my God, what did I do wrong to have this reaction?
Because otherwise, if there's too much discipline, there'll be a repression. And I used to notice when I grew up that the children of the ministers and preachers were some of the worst behaved kids. Oh my God, what they would do, I wouldn't even think of doing. But they were kind of so strict at home, but once they got out of the house, they were the ones, the first ones to start doing some of the aberrant behavior, because they were having to be so good, you know.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, Lenita.
Well, I have a lot of experience with children. I have 4 children. So, but sometimes surprises me how my children turn to be, that it feels like, sometimes I feel like I have nothing to do with that, What did I do? I didn't do anything to, my daughter, she's such a great mother. She has a beautiful family. She has 3 children, and she's teaching, and she's going back to school online. She raised the 3 children. They're wonderful. They're sweet. The girls are sweet as can be. They obedient. They have discipline. And I was like, how she came out to be like this? I was never like this, I was never, I didn't have, my kids didn't have any discipline, was a little bit of a mess, I was very liberal. And how she turns out to be like this, sometimes I feel like it's just, they will be whatever they will be, Their sanskaras, their personalities, or sometimes I feel I got nothing to do with this, I don't see, what did I do to, Mel is like a sweet boy and a man now, and I was like, what? Everybody love him, he's such a good worker, he's such a sweet man, and I was like, what did I do for this? I didn't feel like I did nothing,
Yeah.
For them to be like that,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, sometimes I feel it's just between them and Baba, their sanskaras and Baba working on them, through them, and they're gonna turn out to be whatever they have to be, by Baba's grace,
Yeah. But you gave them an atmosphere of love,
Yeah, yes, I don't know.
They grew up in an atmosphere of love, so
wasn't that much love. Wasn't that much love, I got divorced from the father. We are always fighting and was kind of dysfunctional,
Uh-huh.
somewhat, was dysfunctional. But yeah, I think we of course we gave love because we love our children, above all, above all the dysfunctional things and our differences and stuff. And I think that makes a difference. I know what you're saying, Jeff. We gave them, the love that I guess they needed, to grow up to being such a, functional children, Not all of them though, but
Yeah.
but most of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Everyone has their own view, their own way to see how the kids come up, the kids turn to be, and is I don't know. It's just sometimes I feel like that's just between them and Baba. I got nothing to do with that. They will be whatever they will have to be,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
they will be.
Hey, I see Alan
It's by
Manukian.
example a lot.
What's that?
It's by example a lot.
Yeah.
I live with a developmentally disabled epileptic Down syndrome daughter of 40. She's been immersed.
Your voice is
I
low.
did not know what she was absorbing at all. And she's absorbing everything. She will say to her teacher, who might not understand every sentence, every line of the sentence, which I will, don't worry. Baba loves you. But all the teacher hears is, don't worry.
Yeah. Uh-oh, we're
We are not able to hear you, Rani.
And they must love, that, but they don't know that. And she's coming out with Baba's stuff to them because of example.
yeah.
She never read God speak. Or she'll say, don't cry. Why cry? They've gone to Baba. But all they hear is, don't cry. Why cry?
Yeah.
And so it's in her. And when she can express it, it will come out, especially if I'm there and I've learned since her surgery to speak for her.
Yeah.
But it's all inside them. But it's by example. It's not what we put in, it's what they recall. And they watch us and they do some of the things we do, and they don't want to do other things that we do. But it's all recall. It's all in there. We don't have to put it in there.
Yeah. They absorb it.
Too much,
yeah. Alan, what you got going there? And oh wait, no, Gabriella, did you raise your hand?
Alan, how are you?
Actually, I did not yet raise my hand, but it's really great to see you, Rainey. Ages. Shay Baba.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I loved hearing about Franietta just then. That was great to hear a tad about her life. So I have a mini teeny little song at some point.
Yeah, okay.
Just a short one.
Yeah, when you I want to find out what's happening with you, Alan. Anything?
Oh, I was on a walk with Adrian the other day in a beautiful, I guess it's a monastery, Kyoto monastery that's by where, and all of a sudden I remembered that Baba had said to somebody, it was some story I'd read where Baba said, I want you to hold on to me with two hands, not just one. And then something about that person later on in their life had developed some sort of mental illness. And I don't know if it was a derangement or schizophrenia or something like that. But I was wondering if you had any recollection of a story around that or about that, or have heard that before. And even what that means. I mean, even what that, when Baba would say to somebody, you hold on to me with two hands,
Yeah, no. Oh, I guess we just lost Mayor Prasad. He, I'm trying to think. I mean, I've heard that people have sometimes Baba has said to hold on to me with two hands so that in case one hand slips, you have the other hand. But I can't remember enough of a story to go with that.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's something about that struck me because there was some, just, I don't know why, but it was like, oh, and then there was something else where somebody was having a really hard time and they kept failing with like, like lust or something that they were really trying to overcome again and again. And they're like, please ask Baba. They ask, I think, Erich or somebody of the Mandalay, like, to please ask Baba, like, what can I do to not keep failing like this and to just, be with him and just not have to do this again and again. It's so painful. And Baba's reply was something like, for that particular individual, he said, tell that fool all of this is my will. And that was all he said.
Yeah.
Tell that fool all of that is my will. And that's hard. That's a hard one to remember when you're living your life and everything's happening, and not to go into the blame shame game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was young, Erich said to me, I mean, kind of seriously, he said, don't forget that what did he say? That lust comes from Baba. I mean, he wasn't saying, condoning just going on, but don't let anything in you be not Baba. If you know what I mean, there's nothing in us that's not Baba, and because because otherwise, that's what happens in religious people sometimes. I'm doing this over here, so Jesus has turned his glance from me.
Right.
There's nothing in us that is not Baba, and that kind of relaxes everything. And that it's a better state to work these things out in a natural way than this is this is a sin and Baba's displeased with me, he won't like me, I better just kind of do this off to the side, and then I'll go to Maribot and try to get cleaned up again. I mean, so that's what. But when Erich said that to me, because I was making lust not Baba, and that was helpful. I mean, so all these things.
And that's something brought up with Erich, just like in Mandalay Hall.
No, I think it was somewhere. It was just he and I.
Oh.
But that was, and that made it much easier to deal with all of that because it wasn't something in isolation from Baba.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
Yeah, that's I mean, I think that's something that, because when I have conversations with anybody, even if they're not, let's say if they're not a Baba lover, if you're just a human being, where you have all these things happening to you, and these things are over and over again, there's one thing after another, and there's these little pockets where I kind of like it's like Baba kind of has poked a hole in each of these categories of these places in my life that I've taken to be so intensely serious and so intensely dramatic. And there's these little moments where I can see him in it, and just that little touchstone will be enough where it's too late for the illusion to really take hold and be like completely real. You know what I mean? Completely like, even if I go through with it, even if I go through with the anger or the lust or whatever it is, it's like if I go through with it, there's a knowing, there's a feeling, there's experience that is what he wants. And there is, like you said, there really is that sort of, I mean, I could have a panic attack or something like that, which I haven't had that, but I mean, I could be having a panic attack, and there's a part of me that knows somewhere along the line, somewhere this is part of the thing I have to do with Baba right now. There's something like that. For somebody who doesn't have Baba, or that other, it's just like, this is life doing this to me, then it's hard to kind of offer the service or offer, I mean, sometimes just like looking at them, you know, even if it's like a Zoom call or a phone call, I could, you know, my cousin having a really hard time, and he just lost his partner of 15 years, and in a really not good way. And she you know, passed on, and I really don't know what to say to him. But when I speak to him, you know, it's like there's some, it's just incredible. There's some part of, it doesn't matter what I'm saying. It's just like if I'm really sitting there with my cousin, with Baba, I don't really need to say anything. You know what I mean? I don't have to try to like categorize or figure it out. Or it's like you said, really, there's something is relaxed in the fishing line somewhere. There's some in the midst of all of the chaos, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't feel the burn of the stove when I touch my hand on it. It's really still, everything's still painful.
Yeah.
More acutely painful nowadays. I don't know if anybody experienced that.
But yeah, when you bring Baba into these things, they get neutralized, so to speak. You know, they're not as severe. They kind of, if you have anger and you have expressed it, but you bring Baba into it, kind of neutralizes that, so it's not so disturbing. You know, you're, oh, I'm a bad person, that type of thing. It kind of neutralizes that the response to the reaction gets neutralized by remembering Baba.
But there really is nothing you can actually do, right? Like, for example, I've talked to a Baba lover, and they're going through something that's just incredibly, like their mind is running 1,000 miles per hour, and mine does too at times. And I'm sitting with them, and I can feel like all that's happening, and there's no relief, or no seemingly no, even after the conversation or the interaction, there seems to be no change in their whatever. They're just still in that suffering. I guess it's like just working with my own attachment to, like, whether they feel better or not, or whether they're in a different place or not, or, but it's kind of hard, because you really feel like, well, I really want to make a difference in this world, and dang it, Baba, like, why is this happening? You know, sometimes you really, it's the balance of like being passive, or being, you know, bypassing and just be like, well, it's all Baba, and somebody falls in front of you, and like, well, Baba wanted that, and then somebody falls, and your heart leaps out, and you don't even think about Baba, really. You just your body just goes into action, and you help them up, and, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, if you can go into your heart, you know, just concentrate on that, your heart will give you something to say, or it will know when not to say anything. It does the prompting, you know, rather than figuring it out. You know, that's what I.
This is Marion. May I chat about that?
Go right in. Yeah.
Because Alan, I was listening to. This is Marion Lewis, New York City. You can't see me. I can see you, and because I am going through stepping out in life, I'm very much just an elder in new ways, and I have one foot in the old way and one foot in the new way, and so the territory in between those two ways, and the way I'm emerging newly, is I call chaos. And I do a lot of sort of little cartoon drawings about spiritual topics, where I've one is, you know, this one dimension, and I know it real well, but I've outgrown it, and I'm stepping into the new, and then there's chaos. And so what I've noticed in my training, I'm trained as a transformational therapist, is that, and what Baba said, you know, in the discourses, the psychological is also spiritual. So I'm kind of very familiar with my kind of psychological makeup. And then, so I'm always know I'm with Baba, but there are times and I distinguish suffering as different than pain. pain can go through, it pixelates, it lightens, and pain is the gateway to pleasure. As Baba said, there are two sides of the coin. However, suffering is when I'm just so totally identified as being a human being only. Baba's there, I'm saying Baba's name, I do my meditations, but I can tell I've shifted into being this little Marion that just is like, it doesn't know, what's happening. So in my training, we have a teaching called the Abyss of Illusion, and when I draw it on a little chart, on a little cartoon, I have somebody climbing up a ladder like at a circus, and on the bars of the ladder it has all of those things like kind of lower, the old stuff, maybe fear, hatred, competitiveness, whatever. And then on the other side of the circus is the other ladder of love and love and respect and joy and all that. So I have the person swinging out with the trapeze and letting go of the one, of the lower energy, but there's a point where it's floating in the air, hasn't grabbed the new ladder yet, and the new trapeze yet. Do you get the picture? Yeah. Letting go of the old, but they're suspended in the air. I see the trapeze. I'm grabbing for it, but I haven't grabbed it yet, and there's a feeling that I'll fall into like an alligator pit. It's called the Abyss of Illusion. And then when I grab that other trapeze and swing over, and people are there greeting me, I found out, it was only just a little moment where I had to let go. Just a little moment, but it felt like I'd fallen in the alligator pit. And what I learned from that and from helping people with that is that's when I realized, when Baba has said, I'm not going to fulfill your wants, but I will always fulfill your real needs. And I know that's a time I need to go to my real needs. And then I have a kind of a prayer I say to Baba. It's very short. Baba, what is the support I need to let go of this old way, whatever it is, and open up into the void of creating anew and letting it go, putting a period after it. I know something will show up, but I do have to deal with that, getting more support in my life. So I want to end with that because it really is. And this whole teaching I have of the Abyss of Illusion, and we don't go through that alone. And we need a lot of support from our fellow travelers.
Yeah.
To mirror who we are, to look at you and see you, Alan. You're so beautiful and so dedicated to being your authentic self that, I would always want to mirror that to you.
Well, you definitely have. I feel my heart has opened up very, very much so, more in what you were saying today than I have all of today. Yeah, it was very helpful for me. I very much appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you for sharing. Bye.
Yeah.
You know what that reminded me of was, it touched me very deeply because there was this moment where you were speaking about the trust of letting go from the old to the new, or one thing to another. But it reminded me almost instantaneously, like I could see and smell the ocean or something. Like when I know many people must know about this. When in Kitty's book, when they went to go, I think they were in Italy, and Baba had taken them to the cliffs, and he had told them to follow him, and he was climbing up that cliffside, and there was a precipice of like hundreds of feet that if they were to fall, they would really fall, possibly die. And there was one point where he was just so agile, he went up faster than everybody, and there was one moment where they had to, some of them got stuck because they had to have a moment where they needed to let go of this cliffside in order to leap for Baba's hand. And he was basically, there was a small boy who saw or heard, I think he was hearing some clapping from Baba, and he ran and he saw the whole situation. That's when he ran back and I forgot which one of the mandali, and they helped everybody get up. But it was just really brought me back to that moment for some reason very strongly. And I feel like I forget that. Forget that sometimes. So thank you for that reminder.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I haven't heard that story in a long time. Thank you for reminding me of that story.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I want to get Gabriella to sing a song, but Rainey, were you going to say something? Whoop, we can't. You're muted.
Mute, Rainy. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Is
Yeah.
that better?
Yeah, it's good.
I just found from Charles Haynes, because I knew I'd seen it somewhere recently, he tried to inch towards Barbara's knee when he was 13. And Barbara suddenly looked on him to hold on to him with both hands, he said. And that means that we have to begin to let go of all else and to hold on to my Daman. Otherwise, like a child in a village, unless the child holds on to the mother, it could get lost. Then Baba took his hand and held his own Daman tightly with both of his hands. He told us, don't hold on with one hand, but with both hands. So if by chance one hand should slip away, you will still be holding on with the other. Remember, Baba told us, hold on with both hands.
Beautiful. Yeah, you got the exact quote. Or that's one of the, he's done that in other places, but beautiful. Now, oh, we got Gabriella, but we got, Marcia, show us what you have there. She's got one of her pictures there. Ooh, yeah, let's see. You're okay, just hold it up. Mindful.
Look at that.
I'm able to see you much. Just hold it above. Yeah.
This
Clear.
cartoon.
Oh, mindful and mindful. Beautiful. Look at that.
That's very clever. I really like that.
Very good.
I'm taking a class now on mindfulness because I once had cancer and I don't anymore. But I'm taking a class for 7 weeks, and she gave us this really good body scan. If anybody's interested, she said I could share it, if anybody wants me to email it. It goes through your whole body from your toes all the way up, where you let your whole body go. And it's really good for clearing everything out. Mm-hmm. One thing she said to us was, when you had a moment happen, she says to say, what can I do at this moment to be peaceful? Because I want to be peaceful. So if you catch something happening, then there's these breathing things you can do. You catch it right away, because the goal is to be peaceful and not to have all the stuff on there.
Yeah, beautiful. Now, let's see, Gabriella. We're going to get Gabriella. She's going to play maybe a new song that she's written.
No, actually, no. It's today in Effort and Grace, you said we're moving from the unreal to the real.
Yeah.
And that reminded me of this. I guess it's a Hindu prayer. I used to know it in Hindi also, or Sanskrit. I think it's old. I only remember the English part, but I thought I would sing you that.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, lead me from the unreal to the real. Oh Lord, lead me from the unreal to the real. From darkness to the light, from the earth to the open sky, from death to eternal life. Lead me from death to eternal life. Should I do it one more time?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's beautiful.
Oh Lord, lead me from the unreal to the real. Oh Lord, lead me from the unreal to the real. From darkness to the light, from the earth to the open sky, from death to eternal life. Lead me from death to eternal life. Lead me from death to eternal life.
Did you write that?
No. That's an old prayer. It's a ancient Sanskrit prayer. It's a translation.
That's
Was it your melody?
No, not my melody either. I learned it
Yeah.
years and years ago.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Hey, we're getting close to 12, but let's see. Ganesh has come on here. Wait, anything?
Jai Baba, everyone.
Anything, Ganesh, that's
No,
rattling
I'm just
around?
no, I'm just I'm just like here enjoying the discussion.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to be the listener. Happy to be a listener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ganesh, I'm thinking. I mentioned it earlier. I was thinking of getting two people who had met Baba to share a little bit. One is Tom Riley, who met Baba in the 50s and in 62. He may not be able. He goes to bed around 10, but I think we might be able to get maybe 45 minutes out of him. And
Excellent.
the other is Erwin Luck.
Erwin Luck. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm gonna maybe not this Tuesday, but maybe next Sunday. I'll try to get one of them to
Wonderful.
share their
Yes.
meetings with Baba. There are not many, and you have thousands who've met Baba in your country, and we're down to about 30. I mean that who actually share. I mean, there are people that met Baba, but we haven't heard from them. Yeah.
30. Wow.
Let's
That's really
see.
getting to a small number now.
Yeah. We're getting down. Janet Jacobs, anything from you? She's from Colorado.
No, Jeff, I missed Effort and Grace today, and I'm feeling like I needed to have a little bit more Baba fix tonight. So this has been lovely.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll listen to the tape that, when
Yeah.
Angela posts it, but
Yeah.
I have to have at least my Sunday Baba fix. So
Yeah. No, and your contributions are so apt and vivid and clear, and your questions are excellent.
oh, well, thank you.
Yeah. Truly.
Well, I feel like, and this group of people too, even though I say very little and sometimes I only listen to the recording of it, but I feel a kinship, a literal kinship with everybody, people in India, people in the United States, people I've never seen or met before. It's really a very heartwarming, expansive. I know I did want to ask you about something, Jeff.
Mhm.
And that is about, when you've talked about how Darwin says about instead of taking in, that you express out from the heart, that your moving, always expanding out from the heart. And I just wonder if you could expand on that just a wee tad.
Okay, in fact, I did write something up about this. I mean, I kind of expanded on it. But Darwin used to say that there is an invisible current in each one. And for most people, that invisible current is going this way, toward I, me, and mine. And that current has to be reversed so it flows out to life and flows into Baba. If that current flows into Baba, it comes back at least tenfold of the warm vitality. But it's important, and Dara, I mean, Erich was also stressed this to me, is that current is important to keep an idea, awareness on where it is during the day. When that current stalls out, life becomes a lot more difficult, because you don't know quite what to do, and Baba, when the current stalls out, Baba seems like he's at a distance and life just becomes ordinary. But when that current is going, when you get that flow going, and everybody has a different way of getting that current going. It can be playing with kids, it can be reading poetry, it can be music, it can be Baba's name. It's very individual, but he said focus on that inner current. And then when that current is flowing out, you don't have to say, where's Baba? Baba is the current. You don't have to know what to do with the next thing, because it flows to the next thing to do. And life then becomes more spacious. It becomes more timeless. And we can work proactively on that current so that we're not just a victim of outer circumstances. We can actually work with that flow and have that flow working strongly through, so that, say, if you come up against something negative, your current can actually flow through that and not stop at the negativity or the negative person. In fact, if your current stops at somebody, you diminish yourself by that much. So flow through, but flow into Baba, and Baba, if you flow into Baba, Baba will send that flow through you and out to the world. It can be, a constant exchange going on there. I mean, I don't know if that's what you were talking about, Janet. Oh, Janet.
Okay, sorry, I muted myself again. Yes,
Yeah.
that was exactly what I was speaking of, Jeff. Thank you so much.
And it's an energetic, it's a vibrational, you know how you can have a great generosity of spirit? That's when things are flowing. And we don't have to just wait until our heart serves that up to us. We can be proactive about making that happen. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to express this outwardly, physically. You may have to keep a distance from somebody because they are a little bit dangerous or something, but at an inner level, you can be flowing through them even though you keep an outer distance if there might be some reason for it. So it's an internal level. I mean, even as a parent, Jake there, you can flow out to your kids and discipline them at the same time. You know what I mean? But if your discipline causes your flow to stop, that flow, then that discipline is a little harder. I mean, it's tougher. I mean, it's a little more rigid. It's possible to discipline and know that that current is flowing through you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Yeah. But it takes a lot of work. I'll just give you an example. I mean, this is I got this from Darwin way back in 1970. So I've had 50 years of doing this. But when I wake up in the morning, I am kind of groggy and heavy and everything. And so I am basically stalled. So then I start with Baba's name and centering in Baba and everything, and I have to kind of get that current to start flowing. And I work on it for hours and everything, in and behind my morning routine, so that by 8:30 when I go into work, that new current, that current is what fuels my day. Rather than waking up, kind of groggy and a little bit on the wrong side of the bed, and then the world has to suffer that from me. So there's a lot we can do to change the the mood of our day by just making that extra effort with Baba's name. But like I say, it what happens in the in the afternoon, I kind of stall out. I kind of tend to stall out. So I I might go play a game of volleyball. It may get me going. You know what I mean? It isn't just necessarily something you say is spiritual. It can be music, of course, and poetry, walk in the park, playing with a kid. If you're not a parent, you really can, you can flow with kids. No responsibility. I
When you're
enjoy kids because they are flowing automatically, and if because I'm not the parent, I don't have to discipline them.
you have no idea how much the parents appreciate when other people play with the
Yeah,
kid. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
sure. So anyway, that I hope that kind of describes it. I mean, that's one of my invaluable practices that I inherited from Darwin and Erich. You know.
And Jeff,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
this is
Manoj. Yeah.
Mehnat, J Baba, everyone.
Yeah.
So since there was a talk about mindful and mindful, we
Yeah.
can also say that this flow can be achieved when we are mindful
Yeah.
in a much deeper or much vaster, a vaster way by looking at it. That if we are mindful in anything that we do, then obviously the flow is going. Um, yeah.
In fact, Darwin used the term uh, heartfulness, which brings it down a little lower. You know, I mean, mindfulness. I'm sure in the Buddhist thing, it includes both mind and heart, but Darwin kind of defined it as heartfulness, that you're flowing from the heart. There's a quiet, but from that quiet, there's a flow, and but it's kind of what you say, that kind of quiet, creating that quiet so that flow can just move through you, is really changes the day. Yeah, then you don't have to go like Alan to this place where he gets beat up all day and staggers out at 7 at night and grabs something from Taco Bell and comes home and punches a fist through the drywall. No.
Well, his wife did such a beautiful job this morning.
Oh,
We
she
all
played?
loved it. Oh, yes, she did.
Yeah, she played a beautiful concert.
Oh, shoot. How did I miss that?
I don't know how many people she invited, or I don't know how it went out really, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, I'm not so
Well,
good.
it was on the Circle of Friends calendar.
Oh, God. I thought
But it was Farsi English
Oh, yeah.
version, so you
Yeah.
might have missed it because of that.
Yeah. Oh, I intended to, I thought that was, I was thinking that was, oh, God, that's right. That was today.
She'll
Yeah.
play again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, when you were talking about that, Jeff, and sorry, Marcia, I do see your hand. I just want to share this real fast. Is when you were talking about in the morning time and how intense and fast the thoughts are, and the experience of your body with the sensations of maybe anxiety or worry or whatever it is that you may be experiencing, we experience. I don't know if anyone has seen Star Trek, but I recently saw an episode where basically this guy kind of wakes up and he sees his friends and he sees, the people that he's around all the time, but they're acting just a little bit strange. And he just felt like it just was like a little bit too, it was a little off, but but they were saying things and doing things that were like really against their nature. And he just realized something's not right here. And finally he called it out and he's like, this cannot be true. Something's not the truth here. You're not, he called somebody out, and all of a sudden the simulation went away and he was in some enemy simulation that it was just basically trying to get some information from him. Basically, it reminded me of Maya trying to just really, really simulate to you, like, you really need to worry about this. You really should. You should get in an argument with the first person you meet today. And also you should, this is weird pulling and very seductive and you could fall asleep into it, and have your whole day live like that, have your whole life live like that, but I just appreciate when you said that, because I'll find myself in those morning moments and I'm like, none of you are real. Nope. Yeah. You're not gonna trick me today, pal. Like, I just like, sometimes I'll just like, nope, I'm here for Baba. Yeah. That's my goal. Like, what am I here? I'll sometimes, like I've said it before, like sometimes I'll be really, really just getting knocked in my head and feel so much anxiety and panic. And I'll just jump out of bed and I'll say, what am I here for? I'm here for Baba. I'm here for Baba. I'm not even awake. And I'm just like, Baba,
yeah, that's it. Beautiful.
That's the only thing
yeah, I just go, just Baba with the in-breath and out-breath. I just go and just, all those things are kind of like yellow flies or flies trying to land on me, and I don't look to the left or right. I just go with that until things get kind of cleared up,
Yeah.
and then I'm ready to start the day.
Yeah. Anyways,
I have to wake up. I wake up at real early. It takes a while to do this.
To read,
What's that?
I have a good Baba quote.
Yeah.
This is from Rick Shackman's book. Baba says, I don't like things to go smoothly or easily. There is no credit in doing things easily. One must experience resistance, difficulties.
Wow. Nothing goes smoothly, Marcia.
One must experience resistance, difficulties, and pass through awkward situations. These are real tests and bring out the best and worst in men. The more opposition you have from Maya, the more you should resist and face it with fierce determination. Don't feel anxious. Do your best. I marked off about 2-3 of them, but now I'm curious. Who's ringing my doorbell?
Hey, Marcia, keep that quote for effort and grace. I always have that on hand. That's a great reassurance.
Because every time page
yeah, mark it. Well, mark it for your when I call you next time, you can pull it out.
Okay, I have one more quick one. If you lose your hearts, how will it be possible for you to fulfill the great task which I have entrusted to you? Be brave and spread my message of love far and wide to all quarters in order to fulfill my divine will. Let the words Baba, Baba, Baba come forth from the mouth of every child, and let their ignorance be reduced to ashes by the burning flame of my love. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. That's part of Baba's last message on the alphabet board.
This is a good book.
And Gabriella, what, you got your hand raised? Yeah.
Alan, when you were doing your description of that, I'm not sure what it was, but you were taking your hands out like this and like this, and it reminded me of in Effort and Grace they were talking about the tentacles, and that we put our tentacles out into the world, and that's distractions. That's we get caught in Maya by these tentacles like little octopuses. And anyway, personally, I took this energy and I said it in the group that I realized that if I bring these tentacles into me, all these people that I love, that I'm out there worrying about and trying to, people that I love and I'm attached to, and if I could bring it all into me, then to my heart, that then Baba, they have the benefit as well as I do of my connection to Baba.
Yeah.
If I'm out here, there's no way I can help them.
Yeah. It's a little thinner. You're a little spread thin, whereas otherwise you've got it back there, a kind of place of substance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's I think of it, and sure, whenever we go into the tomb and bow down, say, or I mean, any remembering Bob, but our heart is composed of all the people we love, so they all enjoy that experience, even if they, they may be on the other side of the world and they wonder why they have such a beautiful day. There's a here's a poem. I mean, not a poem, but a quote. Here, whoever we truly take into our hearts goes everywhere with us. That's the Sufi saying. Whoever we truly take into our hearts goes everywhere with us. They're not over there. They're really with us. And if you think of Baba, that you have your brothers and sisters and your employees in your heart, they all benefit with your focus on Baba. They're there when you say the prayers. They're all able to imbibe that because your heart is composed of everyone in your heart.
I was thinking of a little thing that when Alan was saying, when you were saying, to sort of whip up your Baba, get your Baba going, your energy going, and then Alan was saying how you can just go with Maya, and I thought of that little couplet: one can muddle along with a sort of catch as catch can, but to win the beloved's dust, one must be a very warrior man.
That's Francis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, well, we're getting up there kind of late in the night. Not for you out in California, but we're a little after midnight. Any last thing that, or a quote or something?
A poem.
Question?
Yeah. Oh, wait, Sham, you have something?
Chasing higher. I have a poem.
Yeah, go ahead.
And that is from Whistling Past the Tavern. And that is your poem.
Oh, hey, can we see you, or can you get the video part of it?
I think you are seeing me.
No.
It's Chasing.
Okay. I thought that, what? I thought that was Sham. Okay, yeah. That's okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So that is from Jeff Wolverton. It's called Fire and Brimstone. We have all been cornered by religious fanatics who try to shove God down our throats, as if that great one could be swallowed through the gullet. They would terrify us into believing, but believing in what? Certainly, our beloved who makes his home in each of us would not feel comfortable with a frightened new believer standing nervously in front of him. If you are dying to get into heaven and terrified of hell, dear one, you are far, far from your beloved's warm and friendly door. Yo.
Yeah. Let's see. We'll get the one last. this you might find interesting, and then I think we'll call it a day or whatever. There was one guy that came to India, and in the early years, people kind of used to have oceans of notions about Baba and spirituality. This guy, someone told him before he came that he needs to get prasad from the master himself. So he went, and he went to the tomb, and he came out, and there was this little lady that gave him an orange candy. And he was kind of offended, you know. I wanted prasad from the master, and it, you know, bothered him. You know, that woman, that little woman, happened to be Mansari actually. But so when he went the next day, when he went out to Merzad, he told Erich, you know, I was told I would get some prasad from the master. You know, I wanted to get some from Baba himself. And Erich, this is what Erich said to him: the very air you breathe is Baba's prasad if you take it that way.
Whoa, that's beautiful.
The very air you breathe is Baba's prasad if you take it that way.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So let's have just take a couple moments here. Jai Baba. So wonderful to see all of you. And Rainey, thank you for any time, any time with songs and poetry. Yeah, beautiful.
Thanks so much, Jim.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
See
you,
you
Jeff.
guys.
You all for
Yeah.
being
Thank you, Jeff.
Everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye,
everybody.
Meth.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was a heartful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye. Hey, Baba.
Baba.
Yeah. Good to see you, Jake. Peter.
Likewise. It's been really nice to be here.
See you later, Jake.
Yeah.
Wonderful to see you too, Alan.
And
Yeah.
Ganesh, I guess Ganesh is some.
Oh, in the middle of a sentence.